You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver. What the hell is that? Podcast.
Well, hello once again, everybody. As we speak currently into the microphone at this moment, is Thursday, December 15th, and that means we have Wrestle Speakies to do to your ear holes. And what better place to be than right here with us on the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast, as we speculate, regurgitate, fight, berate, yell, insult, and just generally talk about the world of wrestling. What more could you ask for? Nothing. There's nothing more you could ask for. This is all that you need to get you through this week. Trust me, I'm an expert. So let's go ahead and kick this thing off properly. Let me introduce to you the four men who will be tickling your ear hole with the sultry sounds of our voice. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I am the Herald. I am the one who comes before the one. I am the one who will bring to you your doom. For I come before the one who is the reigning, the defending, the undisputed, the ultimate galactic ruler of the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast universe. Our Lord and Savior, the one who will deliver us into the gates of the Promised Land, Beeflactus, the World Eater, the Cruiserweight Champion. He is here with us this evening. Also, it might interest you to know that another man, he could be two, but maybe he's just one, who is joining us this evening. Though he has been dethroned, the reports of his demise are greatly exaggerated. That's right, hailing from the Jungle Kingdom himself, Tiger Bomb Tom. He still lives. He's on the hunt. And just when you think, you know what, he's done, he's out. Goodbye, ruler of the Jungle Kingdom. Don't count him out just yet. He's back on the hunt for that Cruiserweight Championship. And if I know him like I think I do, both the Herald and the Galactic Overlord themselves will have to be watching their backs, because the tiger is sneaky, the tiger is cunning, and the tiger is coming for you. Tiger Bomb Tom is with us here this evening as well. And that's right, the foursome is complete. And it wouldn't be complete without this man. The man with the silver tongue. He can lull you to sleep with his gentle, dulcet tones. Or he can shake the very flesh from your bones with the thunderous sound of his voice. He makes grown men cower in fear, and women swoon. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. His axe is sharp. His loincloth has spattered with the blood of his enemies. He is sailing in from the great Nordic lands. He is the barbarian himself, Poot the Bard. The foursome is complete. We are here, and we are ready to tell you about Wrestletownville Speaky Talkie Time. Take it away, boys.
I gotta tell you, I have never felt more like I want to eat a raw, like, beef leg.
Yeah.
And just be like, fuck yeah, that's me. Like, in my life.
Yeah, man. I'm ready to fucking mount our fiery steeds and bring about the apocalypse.
Fuck yes, man. Listen, Fimbulwinter has hit the jungle, but it's all right. Yeah, Fimbulwinter. Come on,
Man,
I'm tying the game
That
references.
sounds like the shittiest Keebler elf.
Oh.
God damn it! Do you know nothing of the Norse mythology?
I don't need to. They all bow to me, apparently. Did you hear my intro?
Also, I'll take this time to point out that bards have nothing to do with dragons. Usa, whatever the fuck your stupid name is. Bards have nothing to do with dragons. Don't come back ever again. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Usa,
Lord.
I'm so happy to be
that's
here.
not very Usi of you.
So happy to be here with you folks. And with you folks listening. Hey, speaky, loud and squeaky. Let's talk. Some stuff.
Let's do that.
So, gentlemen, I gotta start in the hot button topic. Mandy Rose, she is gone like the wind. Like Tuesday, she is gone.
Gone. G-O-N. Gone.
The third longest reigning NXT Women's Champion of all time. The woman who have rehabbed her career to become a superstar is no longer. Thoughts?
Before we talk about thoughts, allegedly, what's the reason that she has departed?
She be posting some racy stuff.
Nope. So here are the facts that we know. Mandy Rose has a bootleg OnlyFans called Fan Time. And she has been posting stuff on there for some time. And WWE said, that's it, we're done. Those are the facts that we have now. Oh, and I forgot. There was a leak this past weekend from some tame stuff and some very not tame stuff.
Okay, so describe what is the tame stuff and what is the not tame stuff.
So here is the alleged, because I have not seen any of it. I have only heard what's out there. And I'm kind of piecing things together as we go, just like most people are right now. So
time for me and my boner to do some research.
Apparently.
Oh dear me.
Good luck, man. Good luck, man. That's she's charging $40 a month, and they're apparently being very stingy with it.
I mean, if it got leaked.
Well, apparently it disappeared. Anyway, so here is the crux of the matter, as I understand now. WWE was aware of the site. WWE more or less, and again, this is kind of speculation at this point from some of the talking heads, gave their blessing, said, hey, you know what, it's out there. Now, here's where it kind of starts getting kind of deep. So when we're talking about OnlyFans, and again, it's not OnlyFans, it's that type of site, thirst traps, if you will. We're not just talking about some teasing. We're not just talking about some nipples. Oh. What I've heard is that it was more or less softcore porn of her and a man in the shower. I don't know if there was penetration.
Oh.
It certainly sounded like it was, but at the same time, if there was penetration, I would think that it would go from softcore to like just full on porn.
Does anybody else go, well, that's it, my dick's just for show, with Beef saying the word penetration?
A little bit.
Okay.
Hey man, I'm trying to be analytical, and I'm trying to be nonplussed here. I'm trying to be, fair and unbiased, like our podcast always does.
Yeah.
And I, Beef the Legend, speaking of his own volition, kind of went from point A to point B with the point C with this, and somehow got to point F. I think what had happened is they were aware that the site existed. They said, go ahead, Mandy, but just understand that there's a morality clause here. Now, this isn't like, a standard morality clause. This is like, hey, we know that we've had girls in Playboy before. We know what's going to happen on these pay sites. That's fine. Here is the line.
Because it's behind a paywall.
Right. So, they're like, here is the line. And again, speculation. I think that they gave her enough rope to hang herself with. She pushed the envelope, and they said, you know what? What we're seeing, what we're hearing, we're not liking for your image or for our image, so we are choosing to terminate our relationship.
So the only thing that we know for sure, because there hasn't been any official statement from WWE with the whole future endeavor thing, like how they normally do. So therein lies the problem. There's still a lot that we don't know. it for all we know, and there's a whole lot of different scenarios that could be going on. Like Beef said, they could have given their blessing, knowing, hey, there's potentially this type of content that's out there, but it's behind a paywall, so it's not like it's stuff that is, publicly accessed, and whatnot. However, it could have gone the way of, hey, we saw that this got leaked. We need you to take the site down if you want to remain employed. And she could have said no.
Absolutely. With good reason.
Right.
Absolutely good reason.
Yeah, because and I mean, you can get into the whole debate of, you can get into the whole debate of, well, WWE used to do this and used to do that, but also remember back in the day that, like with the Attitude Era and the bra and panties matches and all that stuff, a lot of stuff happened before they became publicly traded and had a lot of big sponsors and stuff like that to answer to. So it might not have even been WWE. It could have very well been a sponsor that said, hey, we don't like this. You guys need to step in and fix this. And maybe their hands were tied. Now, as far as the only thing that we've heard out of Mandy's camp, in all accounts, is that she basically made a statement, thanking her fans for her support. She said the site is still up, so we know that that's not going away. By all intents and for all intents and purposes, she intends to keep this, this site of hers going or whatever.
I will mention real quick, Tom, just kind of interject. Rumor is that it was a sponsor,
Okay.
none other than the Mattel, because of the Mandy Rose action figure.
Okay, fair enough. So the part that gets really murky is, yes, there's that morality clause. I'm sure, like any company, like, for example, to bring this to put it into something that people could easily understand. Look at medical marijuana here in PA. It's legal, but if
you better be fucking careful.
But even if I have my medical marijuana card,
can't be driving.
I'm a driver.
Yep.
I delivery drive. I can't fucking smoke, because if I pop on a drug test, I'm fucking done.
DUI.
Yeah, exactly. So the problem therein lies in what was in the contract, because that's the most important thing. And we may never know what's in the contract, because as we know historically, like pro wrestling contracts are real fucking murky, because they're the shittiest version of independent contractor contracts without actually being independent contractors. Like, it's a very one-sided sort of thing with the wrestling contracts, because basically, for all intents and purposes, a wrestling contract basically says, like, well, we can terminate you at any time if you do something that we don't agree with or whatever. So there's not a whole lot of protection for the performer. They have to watch your own back. Yeah, you have to watch your own back, which there leads into the whole, a lot of people campaigning and championing on behalf of Mandy Rhodes, saying, how fucked up it is and everything like that. And yeah, you should let these performers make their own money on the side or whatever, because nothing's guaranteed. Like,
I'll tell you what, Tom, I was ready to come in here guns a-blazing. Yeah. I was absolutely ready to come in here and lambaste WWE. But, to quote the dude, new shit has come to light.
Right.
Like, again, if you want to post some titty pics, some titty videos, whatever, you want to tease, okay, that's, fine. I don't care if you want to show some fucking cooch. That's at least somewhat respectable still.
Well, now my penis is definitely for show, since Beef just used the word cooch.
But
I mean, I'm hard, but whatever.
But
to each his own.
When I think when you cross that line, and someone can consider what you're doing to be like, a porno, because it's all pornography. But if someone can consider what you're doing to be a porn video or a porno, that I think is a different level of like, oh, and you know, again,
But
I think the reason that I think the reason WWE hasn't said anything, I think the reason that Mandy's been super quiet about it is because I think that there might be some legal entrenchment here. I think that the contract probably isn't worded as strongly as it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Mandy Rose is going to say, well, you didn't say. And WWE is going to say, yeah, but we implied. And it's going to be a back and forth for a bit.
Well, but
Yeah.
here's the thing. The problem with WWE and things like this is that there you would think that there would be a precedent set at this point. But the problem is there's a lot of cognitive dissonance here. I mean, where they're at now is not where they were in the Attitude Era. Understandable. Because a lot of people will reference back and say, why are you firing Mandy? Look at what you had Sable do and Sunny do and et cetera ad nauseum. No,
Maria Kanellis, I was going to say, I was just correct. Tom said the same thing. Maria Kanellis posed for Playboy, and that took place well after the Attitude Era.
I am well aware of that. I was getting there.
Right.
I was getting there. My point is, there is also the precedent of, like, I hate to bring this up, but like Paige and Xavier Woods.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Now that was not. I know that was not behind a paywall. That was a private thing that got leaked.
Right.
I'm well aware, but because there was no money that was exchanging hands, that doesn't change the supposed implication of morality here. Okay, like I'm just saying. Now, do I want to see Xavier Woods go anywhere? Absolutely not. Am I happy for Paige and what she did in WWE and now doing in AEW? And I understand that I'm using her quote unquote AEW slave name. I get that. But it's the point that, like, I understand having a morality clause. I am well aware of that. And I'm going to bring up something that I know that Beef is going to bring up. But how do you, like, first of all, Mandy Rose, I think we can all agree, is a beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman, very confident. Her and Tito Sabatelli, which is her boyfriend, husband. I don't know what they are, but they're married.
I think they're fiance. Yeah,
they're either engaged or married. Okay. I know they at least got engaged, so they're engaged or married. So, but here's my point. He's a good-looking dude.
Oh yeah, man. He's cut. Yeah. That man's cut out of granite. But like, here's my point, is that Mandy is comfortable with it, and they're both very fitness focused. This isn't just something where they have, well, obviously you got to have good genetics, but like they are very, very, very focused on fitness. Like both of them have, I guess, done work with different outlets talking about fitness and how to stay fit and what you want to do to achieve their goals. They're very positive people. And if they feel comfortable within the context of their relationships and the context of what they put out into the public of having something like this out there, people can disagree with me all they want, but I don't think that it should be looked down on. Maybe they crossed the line. Maybe Baby Beef is right. I haven't seen the stuff either. I understand I cracked the joke about me and my boner got to go do some hunting, but every
joke there's a speckle of truth.
Well, I mean, come on, man. You got two married guys and someone with a long-term relationship. I'm the only single dude here. Give me a break.
Listen, we're just being good investigative journalists. That's all.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't. I whined a little too early. There you go. I like that. I'm being an investigative journalist. The point is with this, how is it possible that WWE is going to throw the morality clause thing around on Mandy Rose, who's someone who has earned the way she looks, and if she wants to show it off in any capacity, good for her, but somehow, some way, we are supporting fucking Matt Riddle and his cocaine habit?
I hear you, man.
Like,
And
that's
that
my
was,
point. It's like, at what point do you draw that something is morally acceptable to where you go, this person is being inappropriate, but this person needs help? And I'm not saying that Mandy Rose needs help. I'm saying that I feel like it's one of those things that you cannot have your cake and eat it too, or you cannot snort your Coke and have it in a baggie in your pocket too. That's the thing. Is like, you want to punish someone and send a message, fire Matt Riddle.
Can I chime in here?
Well, real quick, that's the buckshot that I was going to come in with. But again, like, this sounds like, this would be the equivalent of like Matt Riddle doing cocaine on like Twitch or something for people to see. I think that this is a little bit different. Go ahead, Ransom.
So while I do agree that there seems to be some double standarding going on.
Absolutely.
There is a clear difference of a video being leaked of you getting railed in the shower and you being suspended for the wellness policy and someone digging it up and saying with just words on the internet, oh yeah, he got busted for coke. A video wasn't leaked of Matt Riddle doing lines of coke off of his nightstand in his hotel room. That would be a vastly different conversation, because at that point you have a video that people have seen and has circulated the internet of Matt Riddle doing lines of cocaine off of his nightstand in his hotel room. Okay, at that point, I would imagine that WWE would fire him. Because that video is out there for the world to see. And look, there's no judgment coming out of Camp Ransom here. You do what you want to do, man. Like, I don't kink shame. Whatever you want to do, you want to do. But I also understand from a business perspective, especially with WWE being as big of a company as it is, being a publicly traded company and a company that has sponsors, I would expect, as an employee, I would expect to know, like, okay, I am an employee of this publicly traded, sponsored, riddled company. I need to be careful with what I'm doing. Because while WWE might be like, hey, you know what? You do you, boo. Go get it. Some of the sponsors might not feel that way. Some of the shareholders might not feel that way. So if the shareholders get their panties in a bunch, or their sponsors get their panties in a bunch, you go, hey, man, this this wrestler has had their shower porn leaked on the internet. We can't be associated with that. So you can do something about it as a company, or we can pull our sponsorships. And so I get the fact that, like, WWE let her go, because if it was coming from the sponsors, if there were major sponsors who are bringing lots of money to the table and are saying, look, we can't be associated with this. Like, we can't be associated with wrestlers and porn. I get that. That I understand. So I don't know where it came from. Beef, did you say it was one of the sponsors that...
Word is it's Mattel, because they have, the Mandy Rose action figure likeness,
okay.
etc.
So Mattel, like, yeah, okay, so they have action figures of wrestlers, but they also make a lot of child products. So I can see where Mattel would be like, look, we can't, our name can't be associated with stuff that involves the potential leaking of porn. We can't have that. So while I think it's a shame that she was let go, if it's coming from the sponsor side and not just WWE being prudes about it, I'm accepting of that. Because look, when you answer to your sponsors, you answer to your sponsors, because they're the ones that are throwing money at you. And as performers working for this company, I think you also have to be cognizant of that. Like, there are lines that I cannot cross, because if I do, it might not be my company that's coming after me. The sponsors might be coming after the company, and the company has to do what's right for them. So I get it.
Yep. And honestly, like I said, Poot, I that was absolutely one of the fucking buckshot shells that I had loaded up was the Matt Riddle thing.
I thought what you were going to come in with, and something that I'm surprised nobody else has said anything, is it does seem pretty hypocritical, not just because of what they used to do back in the day in the Attitude Era. And yes, Maria Kanellis was long after, was after the Attitude.
05 or 06, yeah.
Yeah, she was after the Attitude Era. The reason they stopped doing that is because it became very murky with any whoever it might have been, Playboy or whoever, wanting to utilize the talents and saying, "Well, you're an independent contractor, aren't you? Why do we have to go through the WWE channel to get to work with you? You're supposed to be an independent contractor." So I think that's a big reason why a lot of that got shut down after Maria. You stopped seeing all that. But the thing that I'm surprised that nobody brought up is how hypocritical it seems if it's coming from WWE and not necessarily there because of pressure from a sponsor. Look at all the shit with Vince McMahon. It seems very hypocritical, when you look at it through that field of vision.
Not only that, but
I get it, and I agree with Ransom in the fact that, like, unfortunately, it might not have been up to WWE specifically. It might have been a matter of, well, fuck, okay, we either gotta lose Mandy or we gotta lose the sponsorship. The thing that really sucks about it all is not so much the fact that she was let go, because she'll bounce back on her feet one way or the other. Like, I'm sure she'll be successful.
She'll never not be on her feet. Absolutely.
Right. I mean, even
except
now,
for in the video, apparently.
Easy.
Well, apparently. Allegedly.
No, go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
But the thing is and I know that this is kind of a little bit of a reach in comparison, but hear me out. Not because of their in-ring ability, but just the general same kind of things that they're into and stuff like that. Look at it like a Eva Marie. She really didn't go anywhere as far as in-ring ability and stuff like that in WWE, but she does fine for herself. Also a very beautiful woman, also very fitness oriented, everything like that. Her and her husband, they got their stuff, they do their thing. So I don't doubt that Mandy will bounce back, no problem. The thing that really sucks about it is that all the work that they put into her and she put into herself, reinventing herself, going from whenever she went from the main roster to NXT and then became, as Beef mentioned, the third longest reigning NXT Women's Champion, only behind Shayna Baszler and Asuka, with Asuka being the number one spot. Mandy was very close to edging out Shayna and taking the number 2 spot. All that work is gone in a fucking Thanos snap.
Hold on, Pooh. Before we move into like the in-ring implication, I did want to point out one thing, because again, I was preparing an argument, like an absolute support of Mandy Rose, so I will mention one thing. Like, WWE is at some point like a child with fire. Okay, like you're like, oh, that's neat. Actually, I guess they're more epic pros. They're the parents. Like they have a fire and they have a child, and the kid's like, oh, fire, and you're like, oh, yep, you got to be careful there. You can't just sit there on the sidelines. They have constantly reinforced Mandy's Instagram, constantly plugged her bikini shoots and everything else.
Yep.
That is a fine line to say, hey, we want you as close to naked as possible for our demo. But then whenever, and again, I was under the assumption that it was just a little light stuff. If the rumors are true and it is a little bit more pornographic, and I think that's a fair assumption to make, because I think that this is a like a flashbang decision. This
I do
happened
wanna-
very quick.
I want to
Go ahead.
clarify something that you had asked earlier. Like, I don't know where the line lies, at least in my understanding and in my opinion, between the softcore to hardcore. It's not even so much the fact of is there penetration; it's can you see the penetration.
Fair.
So.
All that being said, at the end of the day, in terms of like right, wrong, WWE, Mandy, it is going to be murky because we're not going to know that contract. But when you're a performer and you sign with WWE, you know that there is a drug program in place. And this is why I don't think that Poot's assessment was fair with the Riddle comparison. Like, you know that there's a drug program in place. You know exactly what they're testing you for. They're gonna let you know, hey, we're not testing for weed anymore. Like, so you know what you can be in trouble for, what you can't. All right. I think with this Mandy thing, I think that, and I think it's gonna come out, or maybe it won't. Maybe it's absolutely gonna be hush hush, just as not burn any bridges. But I think the verbiage in the contract is going to be super loose, or probably was super loose, and yeah. So I absolutely I think Ransom had the right idea. I think they probably said to her, "Hey, it's your career or the site," and if she said, "Hey, it's the site," go for the gusto, Mandy. You get paid right now because unfortunately looks fade. She's not going to look like that forever. So absolutely capitalize, make that money while you can.
And dude, the thing is, and whether again arguing the morality of stuff or not, people on things like OnlyFans or any kind of paid fan site, whatever it may be, dude, like you hear about people who aren't even in the top 10% or the top whatever. If they're sitting somewhere in the middle and they're floating in the middle, they work 10 minutes a day and they make their rent back in a day or two. And then everything after, like anything after bills is all profit, and they walk away. They're making 5 to 10 grand a month. Like, I mean, and good for them. Like, I mean, if it makes you feel empowered and you're positive about it and it makes your life better, then go for it. I understand that can be a slippery slope to go down, but
yeah,
I mean,
no, I'm here for it. No, you're right, 100%.
No, it can, but the thing with Mandy is, you know, there might be some people out there that would say like, oh, you're giving up, like, in the top tier of the wrestling world, you were a top talent in NXT, third longest women's title reign, as you said, all these things, man. Maybe like allowing the freedom, we forget there are factors outside of just, well, you can't tell me to do with my body, as Eric Cartman once said, it's my body, I do what I want. Like that,
whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Like it's beyond that. Dude, think about it this way. Even though Mandy was working on NXT and the travel schedule's not as much, you're still beating the shit out of your body. You're still kind of under the thumb. Now she's her own boss. She can do whatever she wants, spend more time with her fiance, do the things she loves to do, and go for it. Like, I mean, you know, like, that's the dream, is to like make money doing something you love to do and being your own boss, and then with the rest of your time being like, what do I want to do with my life? That's the fucking dream.
Piggybacking off of Tom's point, like, I think that honestly, and this is a situation where there are no winners, but yet there are no losers, and everybody wins, but no, it's a weird, like, Schrodinger's cat thing. But like, I think that WWE really hurts themselves here because yes, they did build her credibility. They took someone who, you know, was a good hand in the main roster. You know, her and Sonya had a nice little tag team, good feud. They took her and they made her a main event superstar, in my opinion, on NXT the last year. And yeah, like Tom said, now that's all gone. Like, yeah, sure, she got the title to Roxy, and yeah, you know, Roxy beat her clean, and yeah, Roxy got the rub and all this good stuff. Great for Roxy. I'm super happy for her. But at the end of the day, Mandy Rose is a superstar, And, when she wants to return to the ring, if she wants to return to the ring, I guarantee you, Tony Khan will be like, I got money. I
Well-
guarantee you Impact will probably try to,
dude,
scramble all their quarters together and be like, hey, you fucking do whatever you can fucking pole dance down here
Dude,
for 50
Impact-
months if you want.
I'm telling you right now, just from listening to Bust It Open today, I think it was today's episode. Whenever they were talking about the Mandy stuff, Tommy Dreamer flat out said, he's like, "Hey, listen," he's like, if AEW or somebody else doesn't already make a play before we get a chance to, he's like, Impact would definitely be interested. He's like, DM me, PM me, call me, hit me up, Mandy. Like, absolutely.
Because not only is she like smoking hot, and she is a very pretty woman. And if you pay attention to her workouts and stuff, she absolutely earns it. She lifts more weight than I could even imagine to lift.
And here's the sidebar real quick. We completely forgot about the fact of the Demandy's Donuts thing her and Sonya Deville have going on. So she still gets away with her cheat days and stuff like that with the donuts and everything like that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But she earns it.
Not only do you have like this great package, but now you have someone who has worked on her promo skills and has a really great depth of character and has really kind of honed her in-ring work. Like at this point, I'm not going to compare the two because it's not as similar, but it's
I feel like you're about to, though.
I sure am. It's kind of like them releasing Adam Cole. Like it's a similar situation with like the whole streaming thing. Like he absolutely was the total package. Now I don't think that she's the Adam Cole level, but I mean I think that she has a great a presentation, a great package that she has. Yeah, I mean she could go anywhere in the world and be a wrestler, be a fucking mouthpiece for somebody, or like I said, nothing at all, and just do the website, do her donuts, and enjoy magazine covers, Sports Illustrated, and just enjoy life.
Everything that Beef said right there really lends me to believe that WWE's hands were tied. Because, like, think about what you said there, Beef. They put all this time into repackaging her, making her better, putting the spotlight on her, really, really bolstering her up. And she didn't fail at that. Like, she took those reins and she went with it. So not only did WWE put a whole bunch of time and effort into making her better, she put the time and effort into making her in-ring skills better, promos better, everything wrestling-wise better. So for all intents and purposes, both she and WWE were greatly succeeding in what they were attempting to do with her. So I find it hard to believe, especially in the Triple H era, when he can see the value of people, he can see the value of wrestlers, and knows the effort that is poured into certain wrestlers to make them better and to pump them up and to get them into that spotlight and to get them over. I struggle really internally to believe that this was leaked. WWE found out about it and went, oh, this was leaked. Nope, you're done. Goodbye. Like, I really, truly believe that their hands were probably tied. Their feet were held to the fire by a sponsor, and they didn't have any other choice. Because if she was just a looker, like if she was a glorified diva, didn't have great mic skills, ring work was just meh at best, okay, you're not really losing much. But with all the time and effort that they both poured into her as a wrestler, I have a hard time rationalizing that this stuff gets leaked and immediately WWE goes, ooh, nope, you done screwed up. Bye-bye. Hit the bricks. I think their hands were tied. Like, I think somebody came to them and was like, look, we can't have this. Do you want our dump trucks full of money? Because if you do, we need you to do something about it.
I part of me thinks that the other part of me is like, I think that there was probably an absolute in this contract that she had with WWE. I think that there was something that said, okay, no gray area. Like, post your content. That's fine. You make your side hustle, girl. But if you do anything that we the company deem as pornography, as a pornographic video, even if you don't feel like that's the case, it doesn't matter. We're going to use our best judgment, and you're gone. No warnings, no suspensions. You're done.
Well, if they didn't have something like that in their contracts, I'm willing to bet after this they start showing up.
Well,
like
see,
I bet they learn.
But if they do that, then how does that function retroactively? Because that's kind of the question, and I'm not trying to say that everybody's out there running around OnlyFansing, showing their butthole to the universe. But like,
I don't think I don't think they would though, because if they did that, if they made it retroactive, they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah,
and they're smart enough to know the only reason they're going to put that in is to cover their asses if the sponsors come out and are like, uh-oh, hey, this stuff got leaked. You got to get rid of this person. And then they have that in the contract so they can cover their ass and say, look, we have to let you go. It's spelled out here in black and white. Well, they're not going to make that retroactive just to punish people because they lose.
I bet that they're not going to be in this situation again.
No.
There's never going to be another talent like Mandy Rose.
Well, here's the thing. Like,
who they're going to say, oh, yeah, go ahead and do an OnlyFans.
That was the problem with it, like you mentioned with Adam Cole, is that was whenever they were, that was whenever they were not letting people do any third party stuff, not just streaming, any third party stuff, because you had issues with Lana as well.
That's fair. Yep.
And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that was also a reason why we didn't really get any sort of return with Paige or whatever, because she had a lot of a WWE return with Paige, I should be more specific, because she had a lot of third-party business stuff going on as well. So there was a period of time where they were, buttoned down on that. Then they decided to open it back up. Zelina Vega was another one. Zelina Vega was also had a lot of third-party stuff going on. So there was, again, if it all comes down to what's in the contract, if they're able to make it work to where they can say, hey, you can do this third party stuff, but here's these stipulations, and it works out for the performers to do that, go for it.
I mean, third party's one thing. I just don't think that, because this business with OnlyFans and the fact, I guarantee that they're hearing it all the time now, WWE that is, how terrible it is that they push her sexuality, every fucking week, and they push her Instagram, and they do this, they do that, and then they turn around and fire her for being sexual. I guarantee you they're going to hear that. I would, again, there are plenty of beautiful ladies in WWE who absolutely could do an OnlyFans. I don't think any of them have that kind of, like, je ne sais quoi that Mandy Rose had. That like Poot said, the exuberance of confidence, that matters,
that just like that it factor for that style of entertainment.
Exactly, that matters. So like, I think that they were too deep in with her push when all this kind of started to bubble to the surface, and they're like, well, now we're in a situation. I don't think they're ever going to be in a situation with a site like that ever again. I think that they'll nip it in the bud, but I think that they just didn't have a chance at this point.
Speaking of, we talked pretty extensively about Mandy Rose here. Speaking of Mandy Rose and NXT, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts if anybody else watched NXT Deadline or not. I thought it was a really awesome show overall.
Yeah, I absolutely didn't, and I thought I was very skeptical of the Iron Survivor match, because here's the thing: whenever you have to have like 2.5 pages of rules, and you have to have your announcer spend 30 seconds going through them, that's not That's not great. That's not great. But I think in application, they were exciting matches to watch.
Mhm.
I think that they were both unique and different enough. And I think, again, I would prefer a longer format because getting, 6 falls inside of 30 minutes is kind of ludicrous to me. I would prefer a longer format, but yeah, man, I'm here for it.
So
Yeah,
are you saying maybe you would have been more along the lines of 60 minutes with 3 falls?
Well, I mean, like it's all depending on how it's booked. I just don't like seeing 6 pinfalls or 6 submissions in a 30-minute time frame. I think that that's too many. Like, you want to do 2, maybe 3 in 30 minutes. Okay, I can buy that. But like, we sit here and watch epic clashes for 25, 30, 35 minutes where, it gets to the bitter end. And then, like, we're expected to believe that, these wrestlers can just be like, oh my gosh, a roll up and he got him. And yes, again, I know that that's kind of a meme at this point. But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like it was the men's match, I feel like, did a worse job at this than the women's match. The women's match, I think the falls were kind of spaced out enough that I was like, okay. But like the men's match kind of had falls all over the place. I'm like, okay, this is a bit much. I just think anything Iron Man, Iron Survivor, whatever, are best laid out for 45 minutes or to an hour.
I wouldn't disagree with you on that. Like, I feel like having a longer overall match period would have done a little bit better for them.
Do you remember Ziggler versus who was it? It was Ziggler and somebody else in like a 30-minute Iron Man match.
Was it Miz?
And it may have been Miz, and it was like 4 or 5 falls, and I was like, this is just fucking loony. Like, I just it's too short. It's too short. I'm sorry, Tom. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could. The first name that came to mind was Miz, because that seems like something that they would have done during that whole the big IC title when they swapped it back and forth, and like Miz was getting like rain after rain after rain sort of thing. Yeah, no, I agree with you that I feel like it should be a little bit longer of a format. Either that, or you cut down the number of competitors by 1.
Right. Oh yeah, that would go a long way as well.
So I mean, I enjoyed both matches. I didn't catch as much of the women's match as I did the men's because I was busy doing other things around the house.
Sure.
But I mean the women's match, like no surprise that the who came out on top or whatever, it seemed pretty obvious it needed to be a face. This is going into smarky territory here or whatever. Being that you had a quote unquote heel women's champ, you needed a face to go over. So it was either going to be Roxanne or Indy Hartwell, and I didn't feel like they had been really pushing Indy Hartwell, that successfully or that well enough to have her make a run go after Mandy Rose for the title anytime soon. So I mean, it made sense to have Roxanne Perez go over, and by all accounts, I didn't know anything about Roxanne Perez, but apparently, like, she had been around and doing stuff on the indie scene, like she was in Ring of Honor and stuff like that.
I think she was the first ever Ring of Honor women's champion.
Yeah, I believe you're right on that. So I mean, like, so she's been around, and apparently, like, she's just in the ring and everything like that, really, really good, a natural, hence the prodigy nickname or moniker or whatever they give with her.
She's gonna be special.
It's also noted that she was trained by Booker T, came out of his school. So apparently it kind of became a little bit of a meme, I guess. Whenever she beat Mandy for the title Tuesday night on NXT, that was actually, they had taped it because that was supposed to happen like in a what do I want to say, here in January or whatever. I don't think it was supposed to be New Year's Eve, or maybe it was. But they
What,
had
did she face Mandy?
Yeah.
It was going to be New Year's Eve when Mandy
yeah, okay,
dropped the belt.
yeah. So they had taped it or whatever. And
no, they haven't yet. They're going to. They're going to be taping. But yeah, she was.
I misunderstood that then.
No,
okay.
yeah, it was on the slate that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then because the leak happened this past weekend, that's why they moved everything up.
Yeah. The thing that surprised me about with the Survivor matches, and I know I mentioned this to you, and I think you had agreed with me, Beef, was that in the men's match, as much as they had been making JD McDonough a kind of a main event mainstay, he had 0 points for the pinfalls in that match. Fucking Axiom. I'm like, who the fuck is Axiom? One.
A-Kid, man. A-Kid.
Who?
A-Kid from UK.
Okay.
Very talented wrestler.
Okay. I mean, cool. I just have no idea who he is. So, because I don't know, COVID happened and then NXT UK kind of went by the wayside, and I had no fucking idea. And now that they combined everything, so there's some talent that I'm familiar with. He's not one of them. I thought Axiom was going to be there to be the fodder for the match, and just kind of be there to eat the pins, which he did the first couple of ones, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere he got to. I was like, what the fuck is going on in this universe? Like, but the fact that again. In that match, I was like, okay, who's going to be the heel that's got to go over? I'm thinking, booking wise, I'm like, well, it's got to be JD McDonough or Grayson Waller. And yeah, and I'll tell you what, I mentioned to you guys in the chat, Grayson Waller gives me very old Miz vibes, like where he's coming in at not not somebody that came up through the business and through the indies paying their dues or whatever. He's coming from, where did he come from? Like reality TV or something?
I have no idea.
I don't know. If somebody could research that would be great. I have no idea where he came from, but by all accounts, he's not somebody that was coming up like through that. He's not an indie darling or anything like that.
It's because they don't have those in NXT anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta feel. I mean, you know what I mean. The people that have been cutting their teeth,
right? I got you.
Either on the indies in the U.S. or overseas or whatever, like your UK guys, like a JD McDonough and stuff like that. Regardless, like I'm okay with it. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with him getting the number one contendership. I don't necessarily think that means he's gonna beat Braun Breaker, but. For sure. But I think it'll make for a pretty entertaining match. So
he was in Australian Survivor in 2019.
Okay, so there we go. So yeah, reality TV. I'm
not sold on Waller. I think that he's absolutely a stopgap, but I think that he's like the best heel that you have right now. I think that they're going somewhere with McDonough. I think that him losing with no falls is going to like unleash something in him.
Hope.
So I think that this was like a necessary evil, and I think that he's gonna like have a mean streak, kind of like what Balor did with the Prince in NXT. Not to compare JD McDonough to Balor, because God knows he's had that his whole fucking career.
Yeah. I'm here for it. I'm here for that. If that's the case, I'm definitely here for it.
Axiom was like, just your face, like, the guy that was, was there to make sure that people cheered, because Carmelo he's been like face and heel, and otherwise like it was a bunch of heels. So like I think that Axiom absolutely needed to get some points. I'm not sold on Walla, but we'll see. Okay. Here's a hot take. And I don't know how it's gonna go with you guys, but we'll see. I don't think the New Day should have won. I don't think the New Day should have beat Pretty Deadly.
What?
Pretty Deadly was pretty fresh off of their unifying title win. I'm sure they probably had a defense or two on NXT TV, but like as someone that doesn't watch NXT on the weekly, the last time I saw Pretty Deadly was them winning those titles, and then I saw them losing the titles. I don't think it behooves NXT to have, maybe a little bit, to have the New Day down there. I don't think it does much for the New Day's like credibility. Say, oh, we were NXT champions. Like, oh, great job. You were a power hitter in the major leagues. You won the MVP in the major leagues, and you went down to AAA and you squashed your competition. Great work.
I feel like you're being a little too crass, and I understand. I understand where you're coming from. It is a little bit of a hard pill to swallow. I will give you that. But I think it's more just like the idea of going like, oh, we're lamenting that the New Day's down in the minors. You know what I mean? But I think that this could be good to lend credibility to the people who are going to win it off the New Day. Because the New Day, and we've said this before about them, they can eat all the pins in the world. They can be put in any program anywhere, and they will be entertaining, they will be believable, and they will not lose any shine. I really believe that. And I think, because looking at the time, I think we should finish this conversation in the next episode.
All right, Dre. We'll hit him. Hit him with a poop.
Sponsors.
Taco.
Sponsors, look down in the thing. Putting a little bit of meat in the taco shell there with that one. Thank you for listening. Go back and listen to our other episodes. Subscribe on YouTube. Oh, there's the layer of delicious cheese. And make sure that you send in your Stump the Chump questions or Stump the Champs or whatever the hell we are. And that's the sour cream. That's the guacamole. That's a little bit of tomato and a little bit of lettuce. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Listen to the next episode.